Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. If you want to know how to get back your ex-girlfriend and boyfriend, click the link below.
My life's love had an affair with another man. This won't be easy to type, but I feel compelled to do so for my recovery if that's possible. My life's love has deceived me. We've been dating for 10 years and married for 4. We have a lovely newborn boy. We haven't even fought yet, and now I'm screaming, "I hate you," at you on a Saturday afternoon. Over the years, my wife, 29F, has struggled with alcohol consumption or taking it too far. I've fought my demons there, but I've outgrown it. I suppose it's because I now turn to marijuana as my vice of choice, which isn't the ideal response. Her most challenging phase with these troubles was probably proper before she became pregnant. She didn't drink every day, but she couldn't seem to quit once she started. Our pregnancy was unforeseen, but we both thought that the timing in which she would cease drinking for 9 months was nearly a blessing. We're going on a once-in-a-lifetime journey with my family, and we're going to make incredible memories. Although we drank a lot, as many people do on vacation, it was fantastic. She was the drunkest of the group on most evenings, but she didn't do anything terrible. She returns home before me to be with our baby, and I return a few days later. I was taken aback because the idea of drinking after such a lengthy booze-filled journey was the last thing on my mind. I believe she drank every night for the next week, building up to a 4-day business trip out of town. And we've always had an unwritten agreement that we wouldn't drink during the week. It was my first time alone with our son, and while doing everything on my own was difficult, I felt closer to him after just having a boys' week. When my wife returns from her trip, I instantly see that something is amiss. I believed she was just drunk and vague about the trip because she was vague and sad about it. She ultimately admits to making out with a coworker one of the nights that day. This didn't disturb me all that much, and I'm not sure why. She gets tactile when she's drunk, usually with me, but I've seen her kiss other ladies a few times. I was taken aback that she would do this with a coworker on a business trip, and I was initially frightened that she would be fired. We have a pretty busy sex life, and after she confessed this, we ended up having some fantastic sex. She worked from home the following day, which her firm usually does not allow employees to do, but they let everyone work remotely on Friday because of the long work trip. I always work from home, so I was looking forward to spending more time with her on that particular day. She was up and about before me, and I grabbed something in the kitchen when she looked at me as if she wanted to say something. She revealed that she and her coworker had done more than make out and had intercourse. The first thing that came to me was that she would be pregnant because she had stopped using birth control. After all, we planned to have more children. I had advised her to stop taking BC approximately 1.5 years ago because she was concerned about her fertility and had been on it since high school. Now I'm wishing I hadn't, but she said he didn't finish inside of her and that she had a backup plan and a negative pregnancy test. Because the work event, hotel was in the middle of nowhere and the weather was terrible, all of the company's planned events were cancelled. Everyone drank a lot every night because the company paid for the alcohol. Most nights, she said, people ended up in her room with a liquor bottle, and 4 or 5 of them got shit-faced at least twice during the 3-night trip. She also mentioned that a separate employee puked in her sink, which she had no recollection of until he texted her to say he had cleaned it up and apologized. On 2 of the evenings, she ended up blacking out, 10 out of 10 intoxicated. She claimed that they kissed and went down on him, but she changed her mind and told him to leave. However, she and he did have intercourse on the second night, after a lot of booze. She claims she doesn't recall all of the specifics but that she came to enough to tell him not to finish inside her and then broke down crying, begging him to leave. One of the most challenging aspects for me is that it wasn't just a one-night fling. She essentially cheated on me for 2 days while I was at home caring for our baby. Alcohol played a role in each of these nights, but that does not change the fact that she permanently betrayed me. I believe she would not have done this if she had been sober, which helps me a little, but I can't get the idea of someone else within her out of my thoughts. I've been in her position in terms of blacking out and acting erratically, making terrible blunders, fights, arrests, and just plain wrong, and I don't even remember doing any of it. Not that it's an excuse, but I believe having gotten far too drunk on numerous occasions myself, all of which occurred more than 5 years ago, she always showed me the grace that I didn't deserve and loved me for who I was the other 99.999% of the time. And, not to brag, but I've been in several circumstances when women tried everything to persuade me to break my commitment to my wife, and I've always said no. Without a doubt, this is the worst experience I've ever had in my life. Her mistakes have fundamentally damaged the ideal life that we had. For the past 10 years, she has been my rock, Someone I could rely on in times of difficulty, but I can't rely on her now, or perhaps ever again. That's probably why I'm writing to this sub, because I don't know anyone else to talk to about it. I'm now bearing this weight on my own, and it's a hefty one. Because I've never loved someone as much as she, I don't want my friends and family to think less of her. We've both spoken with our church's reverend, which has much aided me in being able to talk to someone about it all. He suggested an excellent marriage counselor, therapist, but I feel like I need help right away, and we won't be able to schedule an appointment for months. She also informed her mother, who immediately stated that she had long suspected of being an alcoholic and required professional assistance. This has happened to other family members of my wife's. All I know is that I cannot forgive her at this time and may never be able to do so. But the thought of my son growing up in a divorced home breaks my heart. Except for the last week, we've had a life that most people can only dream about. A loving relationship, a supportive family, a successful career, and lofty ambitions. I've imagined spending the rest of my life with her and never imagined it would happen. I'm at a loss on moving forward, healing, forgiving, and forgetting. Edit. I've scheduled a therapy session for tomorrow. It makes me feel better to have something planned. Edit. Wife is currently participating in a Zoom meeting. Here is the most excellent comments, advice for this beautiful article that I gathered. The alcohol could justify the first time, but on the second day, she needed to know if it was a mistake or not. She must break contact with her app. Ideally, she should start looking for a new work straight away and request to be transferred to a facility or department where she is no longer in contact with him. Delete stuff is prohibited and should be regarded as a sign of cheating, regardless of how ridiculous the subject is. She will require assistance in managing his drinking and will be required to attend counseling. You could also request a post-nuptial agreement to protect your assets in the event of a divorce, mainly if your spouse is unfaithful. It's not like they got drunk and began doing stuff. There has to be some attraction or flirtation going on. If she was genuinely sorry, she should have returned after the first night, since most of the festivities were cancelled, or at least confessed the next day. The very least she could have done the second night was not get drunk and be alone with that guy. If she genuinely wants to show her regret, she should inform the company's hour department, quit her job, and inform that guys so, if any. Aside from that, she should abstain from alcohol and perform her own post-nup. Given that she gaslights op with, "We just made out junk," at the start, there may be a few more details remaining. Also, I find it odd that she doesn't recall much of the events but does recall stuff like urging him not to finish inside and everything to calm down op. I mean, how convenient it is to argue that she doesn't remember most of the stuff, except for the ones that are important enough to make cheating with op seem less severe. There's more to the story than, "I got drunk and had a bunch of unprotected sex with a coworker over a few days." They were working up to it if they hadn't done it before, and if she continues to drink, it will happen again when the time arises. She may still be lying or trickling the truth, just as she first said they merely made out and then had intercourse. Even if the anecdote is genuine, it is apparent that alcohol does not force people to do things they don't want to do. Instead, it encourages them to do what they desire but is afraid to do. Some have said what is required for reconciliation, but I believe you need first to determine whether you want it or not. So, if you're getting a divorce, don't ask her to quit her job, as this could result in you having to pay higher child support and alimony. I believe you should first speak with a reputable lawyer to learn about your legal choices. Then determine what you want, but even if you're going to reconcile, don't show it. Always have one foot out the door. A divorce is an option that should always be considered. Also required are complete honesty, complete transparency, genuine repentance, and no contact. If you wish to continue excusing her for cheating on her drinking, consider that she decided not just to drink but to drink with him the next day. Even if she couldn't go a day without drinking, she could go to her room and drink by herself. Instead, she chose to drink with him, even though she was well aware of what had occurred. She was more concerned with being with him than remaining committed to you. All of this happened while you were at home with your child. She didn't wear a condom even though she wasn't on birth control. How would you have felt if you had known she was pregnant with this guy's child? When she got home and had sex with you, was she sober? Because if she were, she would have chosen to expose you to any stis she had. There was much more she might have brought than just being pregnant. She placed your health in jeopardy without even thinking about it. It's perplexing that you're considering keeping her in that position. Another case of cheating. Is it possible for high school sweethearts to stay together after an affair? My spouse and I, both in our mid-30s, have been married for 14 years and have been together since we were 16 years old. He went insane, in his words, last year and decided he didn't want to be married. We had been apart for a while, and we're just getting back together. He tried to ruin everything by kissing another woman when he went insane. I knew he'd keep seeing this woman after we split up. I requested a few things, including the ability to postpone the divorce until it was at least filed. Please don't bring her to the house we shared. It was my family's home, which I planned to keep, and don't let our children be near her. He confirmed that he had gone on a couple of dates with her after we began to reconnect, but that it didn't feel right and that he missed me. Nothing else, he said, had happened. We began treatment and made every effort to make it work. This woman informed me yesterday that it wasn't just a few drinks. It was a full-fledged relationship that began much earlier than he stated, including bringing her to our house where they had sex in our bed, and he allowed her to come over while the kids were here. I'll be honest, I'm devastated. While aggressively attempting to reconcile things with me, he was still entangled with her. I'm humiliated and ashamed by both him and myself. I've been able to rationalize things in my head to make myself feel better, such as that just a kiss isn't adultery, but now that I know he slept with her many times, far sooner than I had imagined, I'm questioning everything. I'm not going to delve into that since there's so much more to the story. I'm sure some will bring up my previous post about how I'm doing the same thing, but this isn't about it, and I stopped doing it before I realized what was going on. I'm here, and my biggest question is that I've never had physical contact with another man before. My husband was the first person I met, and I was the first person he met. Now that I know he's gone out, I'm a little envious and want to try something new. Is it even possible to get past what we've gone through if I know he's been with someone else and I haven't? Is it conceivable that I could only have that experience once and yet be able to mend our relationship? Here is the most excellent advice for this beautiful article that I gathered. More adultery won't fix a shattered relationship, but I'm more concerned by his total deception. He never came clean, which indicates a lack of genuine regret. No, I would not advise you to leave your marriage with the goal of later returning. Instead, deal with the mess you're already in, and once this relationship has been thoroughly shattered, enjoy all the booty calls life has to offer guilt-free. Infidelity is unlikely to save any relationship. In your shoes, I wouldn't be hopeful because of the extent of dishonesty. Unfortunately, it's nearly impossible to regain trust once trust is broken. He'd offer you his phone number, social media account passwords, and email address if he were serious. I believe he went to counseling sessions to create the impression that he was trying to change. He'd cut off all communication with this woman and show you proof if he was serious. A part of you will always wonder when he says things like, "I'm going to the bar with the guys," or, "I'm going on a business trip." Sorry for the inconvenience, but you should be practical about it. Whether you do it or not, your marriage is almost certainly finished. Because of the age range you two met, you're in a high divorce risk cohort, which his affair has revealed. You can't expect to be satisfied by deceiving yourself. You're a monogamous couple. You won't be happy with it, and you'll be disappointed afterward. Instead, you'll wish you'd found someone fresh to love, which isn't simple. Your marriage to your husband has been a long-standing habit for you, spanning nearly half of your life. What kind of foundation for success do you have here? You cheated, he cheated. What type of foundation do you have here? You admit to having a better relationship with a random internet dude than with your husband. The sunk cost fallacy is the only thing that keeps you all together right now. Do you believe that one more incident, since you've previously deceived yourself, will settle the score and help you construct a healthy and happy marriage? What a sham. Your poor children are forced to witness this disgusting model of a good and happy relationship. Stop pretending that you all have any possibility of ever having a healthy relationship again, and give them a chance at happiness. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Please tell me what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and press the notification button. Keep an eye out for more cheat